Good evening. Welcome to Pathway to Success. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, and we have with us this evening Miss Tammy Thomas Bussey. She's an entrepreneurial, financial advisor, author, and teacher. Um, Tammy Thomas Bussey is an entrepreneur, as I said before, a retired law enforcement captain. I started shuffling around. I started sweating a little, but I recognized that I'm not wanted by the law. She's currently the regional vice president of her own financial services. She was born in Pahokee, Florida, also a mother of five boys, but she raised six sons. She believes also in God, and I like that, and is dedicated to going above and beyond to help others. Oh my God, her achievements is so amazing. She obtained her associate degree from Palm Beach College, obtained her bachelor's degree from Barry University, and obtained her master's degree from the University of Louisiana. Louisville, I'm sorry. Louisville, I'm sorry. Oh my word. 33 years. It's amazing that you're sitting here with a smile. 33 33 years you have done in law enforcement, and 5 years, 33 years you have done in law enforcement, and 5 years at the Belgrade Police Department, and 3 years at the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office, 25 years at Palm Beach Sheriff Office, retired as a captain. You've also been a substitute teacher, the Palm Beach County School Board, anger management instructor. I'm sure there's some people looking at me. They're looking right now at you. You can just reach out to her at the adult center. And she's been doing financial services professionally for some years now. Achievement also, you're a publisher. You're your own author. Don't get bitter, get better. And what better way to announce this, because 33 years in law enforcement, she's not bitter, she's gotten better, and she's smiling. And I like this book here. Beautiful, isn't that beautiful? Oh my word, I like this book. Tammy, I'm so honored to have you here this evening. I'm so honored to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what it was like growing up, and what led you down the path of these several paths of law enforcement, teacher, now you're a financial advisor. What led you down those paths?
Well, first, I want to also say I'm honored to be here. When I got the call to be on your show, I was very surprised, but honored, and I give God all the glory, because when you are looked at to do something or to speak to the public, somebody must see something in you. And I give God all the praise for that. Not perfect, but just doing my best to be an encouragement and an inspiration to others, just as other people have been for me. So I just want to thank you for having me on the show, and thank you, the young lady who asked you to have me on the show. I'm honored. But as far as my growing up, I was born and I was raised in a little town called Pahokee, Florida. Okay, and right now they used to say, home of Mel Tillis, home of Ricky Jackson, home of Anquan Bolden, and one day they're going to be saying home of Tammy Harris Thomas Bussey. Because if they don't, they'll know I've been there. But I just love my town, and I just love to make sure that everybody knows that's where I'm from. So I grew up there, my grandparents there in Pahokee, my parents there in Pahokee, my siblings there. We were raised with a very large family, but we were raised back when no matter how many people were in the house, you had to be home before the street lights came on. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but that's just how we were raised. So, started out in Pahokee, graduated high school there, did the college over in Belgrade, Palm Beach Community College, just trying to find my way and trying to say, what do I want out of my life, and how can I be an encouragement to others? Made mistakes, like all of us do, but yes, I grew up there, still love it, and just want to make sure that everybody knows that's my background. Those are my roots. Is the city of Pahokee. Is where I came from. With a large family, moved over to the coast, but my heart still lies in Pahokee.
Okay, that's
Yes.
good. But what motivated you to join law enforcement?
Okay. That's a good question. What I ended up doing when I left, high school and, doing college and everything, I didn't have any desire to be a law enforcement officer.
Right.
I was looking for a job. So my first job was that of a clerk typist at the Belgrade Police Department. So I wasn't carrying the gun, I was carrying the ink pen, and I was doing the record keeping and, the preparing of reports and everything for the law enforcement officers. So I went just looking for a job there, at the time, and that's where I started at Belgrade Police Department. I did 5 years there, clerk typist, loving it, learning about law enforcement, getting more of an interest, and also trying to see how we can help our community know that all of us can do this.
Yeah.
And then also make sure that what the rules are and the laws are, so that way you don't get caught up in the system. And so my venture into law enforcement came as a result of just looking for a job. So I did 5 years at Belgrade Police Department, as you mentioned. And then when I decided to move over to the coast, I looked for a job still in law enforcement. And so I went to the Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office, still not looking to be a police officer, looking to I wanted to be a secretary paid like a police officer. So I became a legal secretary at the Palm Beach County State Attorney's Office, and I did that for 3 years. Then after that, I went over to Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office as a corrections officer, and that's where my law enforcement career began. Where now you're a sworn officer wearing the uniform and carrying the gun. So that's how I started as a secretary, which led into the law enforcement field.
So you worked. What I like about you, you have always been goal oriented. You have always been focused, and so you work your way from the bottom, as it were, clerk's position, till you work your way to become captain. That's inspirational. Also, you have taught a little. You have done so. You're so inspirational. You have inspired so many people, and you've also spent time to educate others with the Palm Beach County School Board.
Yes, yes. And what it was is that, again, um, you know, a lot of times people ask me, when do you sleep? And I got this from somebody at the sheriff's office. They said I sleep when I'm dead. Right now I have to live. So I'm just living and trying to live it where I'm helping people. So when I was working at the sheriff's office, when you start off on the night shift most of the time. So I was working at midnight to 8, but I had that passion to help people. And I was a substitute teacher, at a teacher's aide prior to. So after going to the sheriff's office and working the midnights, I still had a passion to be involved in the school, to make a difference in the lives of young people, to try to be that inspiration to them, which I'll talk about later, but, to let them know that you don't have to allow anyone else to determine your destiny. And so I want to be there with them, the elementary school children, the middle, the high school. As a substitute teacher, you can work with, whichever particular school you want. And so I just want to be that inspiration for others, that you can be what you want to be. You just have to decide that you're not going to give up until that happens. You keep fighting for it. So yes, I've done the law enforcement teaching as a substitute teacher during the daytime, go home, get a few hours of sleep, and get showered and go back to PBSO at night for the midnight shift.
But also, you're a wife, and you raise 6 boys. Five is your own, and one your grandson.
Yes, yes.
I'm trying to. I've always said it to people that successful people don't do 8 hours sleep. Most of the wealthy people are prosperous people. They don't do 8 hours or 12 hours sleep. You find yourself doing 12 hours sleep, it's telling me you're on your way, literally,
Yeah.
in lazy world.
Yeah.
But you balance being a wife, then mother of 5.
And raise 6. And what again, and when I
How
started,
you how you how you doing that?
when I started to talk about the boys, my sons, I have a tendency to get emotional,
Hmm.
because I know how the world can be about our sons.
Yeah.
And so, doctor, what I did was this. Yes, I needed to have a job to take care of my family. But that job had to know that if my sons needed me, I was going.
Yeah.
We didn't miss a wrestling match. We didn't miss a football game. We didn't miss a basketball game. I don't care if he wrestled for 2 minutes. I want to see those 2 minutes. And my husband knew that. Baby, just get your suitcase packed. I'll just tell you what airport we're going to, but we're going. And so that was what I wanted to encourage other people to do, because, I just put it out there. I had my first son at 17 years old. I had my first son at 17. And if I had listened to other people, I would be bitter. And that's why I wrote the book, because it was therapy for me. Don't get bitter, get better. And I just want to say to anybody out there, we have all done things in our lives that, may not have, maybe it shouldn't have happened that particular way. We have all made decisions that, that we may regret, but you can correct that as long as you have breath in your body. Go do it, go after it. So to answer your question is yes, I had the jobs because I had to feed the family and pay bills and take care of my sons, but it did not prevent me from being there for them, because I wanted myself and my husband raising our boys. I didn't want other people raising my children. I wanted to be there. We need the community to help us with our children, and that's something that I wish we could get back to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a child,
yeah.
and you should not hesitate in saying something to a child if you see them doing something inappropriate. But nowadays, people are afraid.
Yeah.
People are afraid, and with just cause. But yes, I didn't get much sleep, but I didn't need much sleep. I took my 1-day vitamin when I got up in the morning, and I did what I had to do, and I kept it moving.
So that's part of her recipe to success. She took 1-day vitamin. I don't know if it's Centrum or what.
Women's 1-day vitamin.
But who knows? If you want to get a copy, where I mean, you're also an author. Within this book, don't get bitter, get better. Is this book curtails and speak about your life story?
Yes, it has a fictional name.
Uh-huh.
The young lady is Sandra Boston, but it's my story where I talk about the challenges, the disappointments, the broken hearts, and how you had to just make a list of what you want to accomplish and go out and make them happen, and work on it and check off your list as you went. So the book was therapy for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also meant to be an inspiration to others that, like my pastor said today, be careful who you receive counsel from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because all counsel isn't good. And they say garbage in, garbage out. My husband, and doctor, just give me a minute,
yes,
okay?
Go ahead. All the time.
Because I love to give props where props is due. Again, I'm happy to be on the show, and I like to say things that help other people, not to brag about me, but just to share my trials and my tribulations. I've had my child at 17. I've had a broken heart before. I've gone through a divorce, and I prayed for God to send me a daddy for my sons, not a father, because that's too proper.
Yeah.
I wanted a daddy, and He blessed me with that. And so when we got there, we got on the same page. We said, we're going to take this journey together, and we're going to raise these boys the best we know how. And we're going to teach them to be strong Black men, to be family men, to be productive, and to be safe. And that's what we did. And so now all we're doing is just trying to share our story with other people. It doesn't matter if you have them at 15 or 50. They're yours. Take care of them. Don't let the people tell you about, oh, you shouldn't have done this, or you shouldn't have done that, or, or child. No, just, pray, have faith, and don't let everybody get in your ears with counsel or advice, because it may not be in your best interest.
We're a bit controversial. Have you ever spanked any one of them? Because I guess from our age group,
yes,
coming up, we were spanked by our parents.
Absolutely.
And as a matter of fact, if the older person in the community saw us doing something wrong, they would give us a slap on our hand. And when
Yes.
we go home, if we complained
Yes.
that Miss Brown spiked us, then we would get
Get
another
another one.
whipping at home.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's where
We
that's where
remember those
I
days.
remember those
And
days.
that's exactly right. And there is a difference between
Right.
discipline, okay? There's a difference between discipline and abuse.
Yes, yes,
There
there
is
is.
a difference.
Mhm.
And then, and I think that, my opinion, is that is a lot of the problems that we're having now. That our children are not being disciplined at home
That's true.
because the parents
That's
are
true.
fearful of going to jail.
That's true.
Okay?
That is so true.
And so then they
Mhm.
go to school and the teachers can't paddle or spank anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and they end up running the schools. And then they end up in the hands of law enforcement, and then we want to say, oh my goodness, not my baby. But we were not, you know, able to do, or we decided not to do what we should have done early,
We
enough to
we we
control
we
that.
allowed baby at home to become boss baby.
Yes, yes. And then also, yes, you're right, you're right.
Now, boss baby at home, and
You're
when
right.
baby becomes boss baby, they go to school and they start bossing around the teacher.
Yes,
Then after the teacher is not able to do anything to help them, then they become a statistic right there in the penal institution.
yes,
And
yes,
so I believe that what you said is so true and so powerful. It takes a village to raise a child.
yes,
And I believe that we as parents need to be much firm with our children, because in the long run, we're the one that will, in the long run, everybody's going to turn and look at you.
exactly, exactly. And that's so true because they will say, what did your mom or your dad teach you? Well, I tried to teach them, but Mr. Man, you came to my home and said I couldn't do it.
Right.
But when you start them early enough, they'll know that this is for your best interest. And so you don't need to pick up the phone and call anybody because I'm doing this for your best interest. And hopefully it works and stuff. So, so just, Doc, in a nutshell, it's just that trying to be a person that, one, God is proud of, and two, never ever embarrass my children,
Yeah.
and then three, be an inspiration to others, not any better than anybody else. It's just that you have to have that fight and that determination that I may be from the projects, but that doesn't make me a bad person because I'm going to work for what I want and I'm going to get what I want. And that's all we just have to do. And just show respect. Just show respect. Teaching our children how to show respect for our elders. My boys, even this day, the oldest one is 40. Okay.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of
I know
fact,
people
he's
trying to do the
41. The
math.
oldest one is
They're trying to do the
41.
math now. But she gave it away
Yes, I
at
did.
17, so she
Yes.
gave it away.
The oldest one is 41 and the youngest one is 23, right? And to this day, they know to say yes, ma'am,
Mhm.
yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, and yes, sir to adults.
Yes.
I don't care who they are. Their coaches will come up to us and tell us what an honor it is to hear those boys saying yes, sir to them.
Yes.
And so I just say to the parents out there, raise your children the right way, raise your children the way you know they should be raised, and the rest of the world will be okay.
God will take care of the rest.
That God will take care of the rest.
I wanted to ask something because we're going to go for a short break, and this show is a bit controversial.
Mm-hmm.
You came from Pahokee, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've only been there once.
Okay.
I think I drove through Pahokee, but I've been to Belgrade many times.
Mm.
When everybody found out that you were in law enforcement, did they start? Did they start saying, "Oh my God, we can't trust Tammy anymore. She's now one."
You want me to answer?
Yeah, I want to answer the question because I'm from Jamaica. Let me tell you, I'm from Jamaica.
Okay.
And when you come out of the project, if you become a cop,
Mm-hmm.
believe me, if you go back there, everybody don't want to have nothing more to do with you because they're going to say that you're going to come and spy on them, you're going to snitch on them, and they're going to get arrested.
Yes. Yes.
How did people receive you for those?
Well, I guess the best way I can explain it is that in law enforcement, there are road patrol officers
Yes.
and then correction officers.
Yes.
So I was in the correction side, working inside the jail, working in correction. So I'm there to do care, custody, and control of the inmates that are in there. And so even in that capacity, you take care of the inmates because some are supposed to be there and some are not supposed to be there. So you are responsible for feeding them, housing them, caring for them. So that's what we do. Road patrol deputies, I think they have a little bit more of the distrusting part because they are the ones that's putting the handcuffs on, locking them up, and bringing them to us. So it may have been a little bit of a, we had a little bit of a easier acceptance.
Any classmate came by to see you? Have you ever had visits from any former classmate versus who you went to the same church in when you were younger
Yes,
that visited?
yes, yes. And then
How was that to you? How was that encounter?
because they looked at me as the nice cop.
Right, right.
They look at me as a nice cop, and and she's okay, and she didn't change,
Right.
and I didn't try to. I just treat people the way I want to be treated, and even being a supervisor, in my job, my supervisors knew I'm not going to do anything to anybody
Yeah.
because it's not you I got to answer to. I got to answer to my God.
Yeah.
And so that always stayed in my head to make sure that I'm going to treat people like I want to be treated. Yes, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm not going to give you the key and let you run out, but I'm not going to kick and dog you either. So I didn't have that big of a problem. My classmates still talk to me. They still make me the class secretary.
After all of that. Wow.
Yes, so I didn't have that big of a problem being in law enforcement. No, I didn't.
That's great.
Yeah.
On your way up to this rise in the different positions that you've been, how do you cope with challenges? There are many persons when they're faced with problems. What I like about your story, you got pregnant at the age of 17, but that did not stop you from becoming an achiever, a role model to this community. That did not stop you from being a good wife and a good mother, and also a mother and a counselor to other people's children. How do you cope? Tell me some of the coping techniques you used when you were faced with strong oppositions. You're a woman that rise to a very powerful position also. How did you cope? How do you face those challenges? What did you do?
To be very honest with you, there were some challenges. You know, outside it wasn't so bad. Inside,
System.
yeah, the
Yeah, the
system.
system.
Because they look at you as you're a traitor. You're on their side. You start to move up, and you may not agree with things that people that you were close to may think you should. So how I dealt with it, a lot of times you had to just hold it in, and you had to um, refrain from showing what you're really feeling just to get through it. I don't curse, I don't drink, so I didn't have those outlets to lean on. So I had to just deal with it, know the policy, follow the policy, and then really, my husband's in law enforcement with me. He was in corrections with me, and we would go home. We would talk about it, and we have a different type of personality.
Yes.
I'm that, well, baby, it's gonna be okay, and he's that. Let me tell you what you need to do. So we had to talk about it, and then we had to.
He's about 6'6". If I was ever in a fight, I would prefer having him by my side
Yes.
than having him in front of me.
Yes. So we would go home and we would kind of talk about, okay, how to have a balance. And he would say to me, you can't let them see you sweat. So you can't do it this way, but you should do it this way. But I know that's really not your personality. So let's talk about how you're going to deal with it. And so we had to go home a lot of times to talk about it and then come back and deal with it. And there are many situations where I just had to do what I knew was the right thing to do and then move on. And people who no longer spoke to me because of that, it was nothing I could do about it. Those who accepted what I was doing, that was fine as well. But never ever tried to do anything intentionally to hurt anybody. Never tried to use the position to my advantage. And before you take the break, I just want to add too about being a good parent, because those being a parent is what God gave you. Being a parent, you can choose a lot of things. You can choose the house you live in, the car you drive, the shoes you wear. You can choose a lot of things, but you cannot choose who you give birth to.
That's powerful.
And so that means God gave you, those children. What man can take some little messy stuff and make a human being? But God. So I made sure that whatever I did would never ever reflect negatively on them. And my point I was going to make is that child that I had at 17, he's now a supervisor at the same agency we retired from.
Wow.
So don't let anybody tell you what God can't do.
Congratulations.
And what you can't do by getting better and not bitter.
Well, you're hearing it from the best, so inspirational, Miss Tammy Bussey, right here on Pathway to Success. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to look at her skills in financial services. She's an entrepreneur also, and there's something I didn't get to ask before. Anger management. Oh, she looked at me really. You.
I was.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Like I said, I was a substitute teacher
for
the Palm Beach County School Board, and they were looking for an anger management teacher at the Adult Education Center. And so again, being that they never see me smile, never see me mad, never see me sweat, they asked me would I be the anger management instructor at the Adult Education Center. So I was the teacher for anger management, teaching how to handle things, how to keep you cool, how do you handle stress, how do you deal with confrontation. So I was an instructor teaching anger management at the Adult Education Center.
My word for all the pastors watching, if you need someone. Because all the pastors watching are for those who have over 7, 8 kids. If you need that type of class, I'm going to direct you right to her. She's sitting right here on Pathway to Success. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back to hear some more from Tammy Thomas Bussey, entrepreneur, financial advisor, author, and teacher. Great job.
There's a new sports bar and grill in town, Tasty Soul Food Sports Bar and Grill. Join T-Dog and all his celebrity friends for the grand opening on Saturday, May 1st, beginning at 2 p.m. It's a grown and sexy vibe with 80s and 90s R&B music, served with Tasty's great tasting menu, offering Tasty's burgers and fries, Tasty shrimp, salmon, oxtails, mac and cheese, collard greens, smothered pork chops, potato salad, lemon pound cake, and so much more. And T-Dog is bringing out all his celebrity friends. And the only way you're gonna know who's there is by coming by T-Dog's all-new Tasty Soul Food Sports Bar and Grill. Join us for the grand opening on Saturday, May 1st at 2 p.m. 3770 Northeast 3rd Avenue, Pompano Beach. It's a grown and sexy vibe with 80s and 90s R&B music. Call and place your order now at 954-953-8856. A Tasty's experience is what you deserve. Tasty Soul Food Sports Bar and Grill. Home of the lemon pepper and sweet and tangy fried ribs. Due to COVID restrictions, mask must be worn upon entering the building.
We shouldn't get the Welcome to Pathway to Success. We're having a great time with Mrs. Tammy Thomas Bussey, and she's wearing so many hats. So it's the inspirational. I call her the inspirational. And if you, how can we get one of these books if there's anybody watching now? How can they get your book? Don't get bitter, get better.
Yes, the book can be purchased on Amazon as well as xzebras.com, and we'll post a link to that as well.
Post a link for that. I like the color of the book. I really like how it's done. Don't get bitter, get better. This is inspiration in itself. I'll have to read this book myself. I go through it and get me a copy. I don't think she wants to give away this copy.
No, that's my copy.
That's her
copy, doctor.
Oh my word. Oh my God. And I was just holding on to this one. No, I won't get bitter. I'll get better. Let me place it right. that's her copy. Okay.
Yes, I get you a copy.
But with all the position, the roles that you have played in life, what is your greatest motivation? What really motivates you to continue to be better and better, especially in this time where the world is going through an epidemic, the COVID-19, which has really been has caused so many loss of lives. It has transformed the entire world. And so you're an entrepreneur, you're a financial advisor. What led you to become a financial advisor?
Okay. With me, what it is that to answer your question about the motivation, what motivates me is that coming up as a young girl, I watched my parents, work for other people. I watched them be, housekeepers and, taxi drivers and, different positions that they had to go and work for other people. And so I watched it and then I would still hear them complain, working for others, they didn't make enough money. And so, but they still managed to make ends meet. And so it just watching them and living in the household, and it just motivated me to say, I want to make sure that I do better so I can be in a position to help them if need be. I have several siblings. My mom is still living. I lost my dad and my grandparents. My grandparents are all gone, and my father is as well. But my mom is still here. So I have several siblings, and we all try to pitch in some kind of way to assist my mom. And then, my siblings are out there, and we just want to make sure that we make her proud as well. And so the motivation is to just be an example where if someone asks my mom about me, I want her to say with a smile how proud she is of me. That's the one thing. The second thing is that again, I can't say it enough, and anybody who knows me, they'll tell you about me, is that my why is my boys. You know, I wanted to make sure that I brought them into the world, and I want them to be prepared to take care of themselves in the world. That if you get children, you take care of your children. It's not my responsibility. I'm grandma, and I will be there as grandma. But you take care of your children unless I decide to take them like I did the first one. But it's just that you have to have a reason and a purpose and something to motivate you and inspire you. So with those two things, it just kept me focused on doing the best that I could do. When I moved on to learning about how I could financially uh, be strong and be financially independent one day, I came across a young man who sat me down and showed me about the financial services that I could get into that would help give me stability. And so after I, listen, because sometimes, we hear, but we don't listen. So I listened to what he was sharing with me. And as a result, I put my plan in order. And once I saw my plan was working for me, knowledge isn't power until it's shared. Okay. True. So I said, you know what? If this has worked for me, I need to share this with as many people as I can. And so I went into the financial service business as well. And, and to tell as many people who will listen, don't spend more than you make. Because guess what? That leaves you broke. And again, don't sleep 12 hours a day and try to, work 3 or whatever and then play the rest. No, you work 12 if you need to and sleep 3 or whatever it takes to get you to where you need to be that independent person where you are, not living paycheck to paycheck, where you're not living on credit cards, where you're not having to borrow from people who are going to talk about you anyway. So I went into the financial service industry because once it put me in line, I wanted to make sure that my sons knew, that my mom knew, that my sisters knew, that my brothers knew, that my my aunts knew, my uncles knew, and that all my family, my friends knew. And as you know, some people will listen to what you tell them and take heed, and some people are just not going to change.
Yeah.
And so you help those who are wanting to help. And so as I'm doing all the other things, supporting our boys on their events, working at the sheriff's office, teaching at the school.
Wow.
I went into the financial service business because with this business, I'm my own boss. I represent a company, but I'm my own boss. So I set my own hours. I get paid every day. When I help a person, I get paid. So what better life is that? That you log into your computer
Mhm.
and there's some money that you can't even remember where it came from because you're out there helping as many people as you can. And so my passion for doing it, Doc, is because I love helping people. And if it works for me, I want it to work for as many people. I don't, when it comes to our race, and this isn't just for blacks. This is just me having a moment right here. When it comes to our race, we say we want this and we want that. But when we have an opportunity to get it, we don't take advantage of it.
It's true.
We don't take advantage of it. And sometimes people will come to you and put it in your lap, and it's the best thing for you, and you brush it off. And so, what my passion is that there are people who have listened. There are people who have had the difference made in their lives. And I just look at it and say, Lord, thank you. It worked for them. And we just pray that the others one day get the message. But I'm loving it, getting families to do what they need to do, to put things in order. You know, I was sharing with one of your members earlier is that in corporate America, the way you get promoted, you have to put down the other person. You have to show that you're better. You have to find something wrong with them so you can get promoted. You got to show them that you're better than them. That's why you need to promote me and not them. You got to show them that, 25 years ago, he or she did this, this, and that. That's why you shouldn't choose them. You should choose me. That's corporate America. But with me, with our company being an entrepreneur, is that the only way you go up, you got to bring some people with you.
Yeah.
The only way you get promoted, you got to bring some people with you. So I'm loving it because it's no negativity. It's no, you're a bad person or you're a good person. You can do this. You have to believe more in those people than they believe in themselves. And that's what we're doing. And, we're just hoping that people get the message and do some life-changing things because COVID is real and it's keeping a lot of people from going to work. And you can do some things on Zoom and still get paid. So it's
I like
great.
that. Oh, I like that. You're so inspirational.
Thank you.
And what I like about you, you want to see others do well. You want to see others prosper. You want to see others become their own boss. You want to see others able to provide for their family
Yes.
and don't dependent on someone just sitting on the corners and waiting for someone to get out of the car and ask for a 20.
Right.
You want to see everybody doing well.
Yes.
And I believe that's why it comes from your strong background in Christ Jesus. Strong background in Christ Jesus,
Oh,
because
yes. Oh, yes.
because not many people are like you. Not many persons. You speak about corporate America. I have a sister that's in corporate America, Helen, but she'll tell you within corporate America, they tell that what you were saying. People tend to pull people down to get to the top. But your business, it doesn't work like that. You have to put people to the top, and I really like that. I really like that. But how can persons get into this type of business that you offer? You entrepreneur financial advisor. How can they get in contact with you, and how can they get started if they want to become a part of what you do?
They just need to call me. Just call me.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
call
Just
me.
call you.
Just call me. Call me.
Only a
And
phone
seriously,
call away.
and seriously, the thing that I have a business number,
Mm.
and I don't have a problem putting it out there because it's out there. I don't know if we, roll it across the screen or whatever, but seriously, you can, if they're interested in the business, seriously, all they do is just give us a call and we will teach them and coach them how to do what we're doing. It's not hard. It's just that you gotta want to do it, but that's pretty much it. They just make a phone call to me, and we'll get it moving.
And you said something very earlier. There's some people that spending more than what they earned. Budgeting is so important.
Right.
I've always said that for us to succeed and for us to have money for a rainy day or whatever day it may be, I would look at now as like a rainy day
Right.
with the COVID-19.
Yes.
You have to save. You have to have someone who's versed in financial counsel as yourself
Right.
to advise people where to put their money, how to put their money, and how to still make money.
Yes. And that's to be specific. That's what we do, doctor. Is that in our business we help people do a financial plan. How much money do you have coming in? How much are you spending? And where can we help you make those adjustments where you can eliminate some debt? So we help them do debt elimination. We help with the budget. We help with the credit repair. We also get them the right type of protection, that they need for their families. And often I post on Facebook, leave your family with a will and not a bill.
Yeah.
People live their lives and they forget about the day that that call that we're all going to have to answer. And even like now, we have a son and a nephew who owns a funeral home out in Pahokee, Brown and Bussey Funeral Services. They own it. And the things that they see coming with families, unable to do what they really want to do for their loved ones because they didn't have insurance and the family has no money. And so now they're struggling, trying to figure out what they're going to do. And so that's something that we try to help families do ahead of time. And like we were talking about earlier, it's to have it, and not need it versus needing it and not having it. Those are the things that we sit down with families and help them prepare in our financial service business. And again, we are just, here to help people for those who will allow us to, but definitely they need to have a plan, because we see, we hear the arguing and the disagreements between families and stuff like that. And we see it all the time. But for me, being passionate about it is because when you have seen it personally, now you can definitely tell your story because you have a testimony to tell people that you don't have to be there. Let me show you how to put things in order, and even with the COVID situation, the COVID money, I'm hearing that people got thousands and thousands of dollars, and you just wonder, what did they do with it? Did they go and take that lump sum and put down on a car that they could only do the down payment? Now they can't make the monthly payments. Did they go spend it on things that, that didn't last long and now you still have those bills to pay? It's just about our goal is to educate families if they will allow us to. That's what we want to do.
I like that. Tell me something. Do you have any projects that you are currently working on that will elevate you into achieving even bigger and better? Because you've been winning. As a matter of fact, to connect with Tammy, our business number is 561-723-9420. Connect with her. It's running right across on the bottom part of the screen. And she's the best in the business, I can tell you.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Thank you for that. But yes, as far as future endeavors, yes. Right now we are, because again, Pahokee is my hometown.
Yes.
And regardless, and we live in Royal Palm, but Pahokee is my hometown. My mom's still there. My siblings are still there. And so we have an office that we're opening in Pahokee to be there to serve the community. And then also we're looking to open up a retail store in Pahokee. Why? Because we're trying to bring revenue to the city and also job opportunities. And so one of my sons, and if they're in it, I'm going to help them. We're going to help them, me and my husband. But he's looking to open up a retail store in Pahokee. So that's something that we'll be working on. And then also we're going to have an event soon. Going to have a book signing out there. We're going to be, giving out books. Going to have other giveaways for personal hygiene items, masks, and things like that. For the business, we're going to be having a giveaway to the community real soon with that. So we have a few things that we're working on. Still, we have to be careful with this COVID. Wear your mask. And that's the other thing. Just forget the politics. Just use common sense.
That's
Just
true.
use common sense. Just use common sense. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want. Well, you're controversial, so you don't.
Oh, yeah, I'm controversial, so you can say anything on this program.
but
We're
just
famous for controversy. Anyway, you can be controversial even if you don't want to.
If you don't want
No,
to,
but-
I got it. But I'm just serious. Just if somebody tells you something's gonna, keep you safe, why not do it?
Yeah.
It's like somebody says, I promise you, if you walk out there in front of that 18-wheeler while it's going 90 miles an hour, it's gonna kill you. You say, oh, you just jealous. I'm going to do it anyway.
Just
You
jealous?
gonna run out
That's
there.
funny.
You're just jealous because I can do it and I won't get killed. And I go walk out in front of that 18-wheeler going 90 miles an hour, and what happens to me? Please. So we just have to use common sense. Regardless of the politics in it, use common sense. Protect yourself, protect your families, and that's pretty much it with that COVID situation. But yeah, we are trying to do some things out there, to serve the community.
What about
And-
politics? Because you controversy again. That's it. We're controversial. We love to ask topic out of the box. You have achieved so much. You have helped so many people. Your love, even though you're not in Pahokee, you're in Royal Palm, but still you give back so much to Pahokee. You care for the community and the people there. Have you ever thought about I know you're in the financial bit, but you ever thought about running for mayor? Politics.
Dr.
I think
Hunter,
you'd be-
who
I think
have
you'd
you
be a
been
great-
talking to? Who have you been talking to?
We just met on the set before we got on, but I believe that you'd be great for people representation, people of all nation and race. You're nurturing, caring.
I know my husband's saying something about that because we've had this conversation. I get calls about once a month asking me to run for an office or to be a co-runner with somebody else. I've gotten those calls over the years. And because of my personality, I don't know if I can handle the politics. I don't know if I can handle that part of it. I really don't. And then the second reason, again, is that when you're in politics, it's controversial. People will say things to you that disrespectful,
Mm-hmm.
that may not be true, that can be ugly, when you're in politics. And I think, and let's just say this.
But
is why
that's
I've been-
why you teach anger management class. Go
Right.
ahead.
And so and that's why I have to make sure that I'm practicing what I'm preaching and teaching,
Yeah.
right? Is to stay cool, calm, and collected, because I would probably lose it if I was in politics. But the other reason why I don't think I need to go into politics is, again, Dr. Hunter, is because, again, I try to have all boys.
Yeah.
If somebody says something about their mom,
Gonna come for you.
oh yeah. So I have to protect them. I have to protect them from that because I know if they say something ugly, if my husband doesn't get to them first, they got 6 warriors coming behind him. I'm just being honest with you. They can't say she's a B or she's this or she's dumb, she's retarded. No. They're not gonna tolerate that with their mom. So I don't think that would be a good calling for me because I would be probably, at the release office of the jail, not quite a bit, trying to get them out. But I want the right people to be in those offices. And I'm gonna say this, real quick. What the other problem I see going on right now is that disrespect. It's such disrespect to the politicians. Every position should be respected, but you also need to earn it.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't vote for that person, or you're not that party, still respect the position. I don't care who it is. I just think that that's causing so much ugliness in our world as well, is the ugliness toward people who are in high places that, that deserve respect. Even if you don't like it or you didn't vote for them, just give the respect, because all this nastiness is filtering down to our children.
Sure.
And they're thinking that it's okay to go to school and be disrespectful to the teacher because you're disrespectful to the president. Or, or I can be ugly to my teammate because I just saw my principal, talk to the teacher,
Yeah.
in an ugly way. So I just wish that the world could just go back to being nicer. I don't know, I just that's just
What you're
one of
saying,
my
and that begins with us, the parents at home. What you're saying is so key, of course, because persons who are held in high positions should be respected, no matter what their views are, even if you didn't vote for them
right,
and they're not your favorite person, but you should
right,
respect them. But
right.
what you said, that's so true. We've seen a lack of, but a lot of that comes, and that's so controversial. A lot of that comes from jealousy and envy also. People sometimes are just an envy. They dislike someone, and they believe that they can pull someone from down from the position that they are by being disrespectful to them. But what it does, it makes them look like the ugly person,
Right.
and
Hmm.
it makes them look like the person that lacks intellectual abilities, and it shows also that they lack manners.
Right. And the other thing too that I want to say that sometimes causes people to get that way too is because those people in those
Yeah.
positions are ugly or distasteful, disrespectful,
Hmm.
say anything. They're preaching hate
Hmm.
and all types of things. So those who are in those positions, again, you need to earn it as well and be respectful if you want to be respectful. So I don't want to throw it out there that we got to bow down to them because we do have some people who are or have been in offices, high offices, that has been totally
Oh,
disrespectful
that's
and
true.
has preached division and hate and and different things that is not right. So I just want to put that out there as well.
Well, you have heard from the best.
Mhm.
She's inspirational. Um, can be a little controversial. I've not seen it as yet, but we asked some let's look at controversial questions a little bit. And I really believe that politics is calling you.
Oh,
Even while you are doing your other jobs, whether you want to believe that you may have never heard, or your children may have never heard persons, thanks be to God, or your husband say anything negative, but a person with the type of success that you have, people will always speak negative things against you. Not because you're a bad person, but because you're winning.
yes,
Winners,
true.
always remember, winners will always have people that is below them, trying to pull them down to their level.
Hmm.
And so, because you're a winner, people want to put you to, why is Tammy there? Why is Tammy in this position today? Why is Tammy on the pathway to success? But they don't stop to study the recipe of your success: hard work, dedication. While they spend maybe 95% of their time watching soap opera, you're working to take care of your five boys and your husband, six,
Hmm.
right? And so this is one of the things that really also affect society. But you really inspired us today. I want to go out and get this book on Amazon. Don't get bitter, get better. This is so profound. I like it. The author, Tammy T. Bussey. You want to get it? She's a financial entrepreneur, financial advisor, author, teacher, mother, wife. Oh my word, she'll wear all the caps in the world, and I'm really rooting for her in politics too. I'm going to start on this platform
Oh my
today
goodness.
to push our political campaign out there. We're controversial, right? We're known as controversial, but controversial people always win.
Yes, yes,
Controversial people always win, and they always command the attention of the masses.
yes.
And so it's such an honor, such a. I had a great time.
I do
You inspired us to the next level, and for persons, the numbers is right there on the bottom of the screen. If you want a financial advice, you want to become a financial entrepreneur also yourself.
too.
You want to make money. Who do you know that don't want to make money? Only those that's lying in the cemetery. They
Hmm.
can't make it anymore. You can call Tammy at 561-723-9420. That's 561-723-9420. And believe me, you'll be on solid ground. In closing, I want to leave this with you this week. Don't get bitter. Get better. From this great inspirational woman that's sitting right next to me today, entrepreneur, Tammy Thomas Bussey. Don't get bitter, get better. Have a great week.
Thank you.